Today is potato planting day. In this video, we'll be going through the entire process of preparing your seed potatoes and the ground for a harvest that will feed you throughout the year. Let's start with preparing the soil. Potatoes prefer loose, well-drained soil with a pH of about 6 to 6.5. You can use a garden fork or tiller to loosen the soil to a depth of 10 to 12 inches. Once your soil is ready, it's time to select your seed potatoes. Choose certified seed potatoes from a reputable supplier to ensure healthy plants. This year I'm planting Kennebec, Yukon Gold, and Pontiac red potatoes. You can cut large seed potatoes into smaller pieces, each with at least 2 eyes or buds. Each of these eyes can produce a potato plant. Allow the cut pieces to dry or scab over to prevent rotting. You can also coat the cut areas with elemental sulfur to prevent rotting. Sulfur is a natural fungicide that inhibits the growth of fungi and bacteria that cause potato rot. Additionally, sulfur helps to dry out the cut area of the potato and creates a protective layer that acts as a barrier against moisture, which is necessary for the growth of fungi and bacteria. It is important to note that sulfur should be applied to seed potatoes only before they are planted, as it can be harmful to the potato plant if applied later in the growing process. You can plant the potatoes whole, but cutting them into pieces increases the number of potatoes you will get. Just be sure to leave enough potato to feed the developing plant until it sets enough roots to get nutrients from the soil. Unless the potato is very large, I only cut it in half. Extremely large potatoes may get cut into thirds, but it's better to have too much potato than too little. Now it's time to plant your potatoes. Dig planting holes about 4 inches deep and 12 inches apart. I like to put a small amount of a slow-release fertilizer in the bottom of the hole and then cover this up with a bit of soil. Then I place the seed potatoes in the hole with the eye side up and cover them with soil. The slow-release fertilizer will feed the potatoes as they grow. I will fertilize the potatoes about every 3 to 4 weeks with a fertilizer rich in potassium and phosphorus to encourage the formation of potatoes. Feeding too much nitrogen will get you lovely leaves but fewer potatoes. The best time to plant potatoes depends on the climate and growing season in your area. In general, potatoes can be planted in the early spring after the danger of frost has passed. You may also be able to plant a second crop of potatoes in the late summer or early fall. Potatoes need regular watering to thrive, especially during the growing season. Water deeply once or twice a week, depending on your weather and the moisture in your soil. As your potatoes grow, you will want to hill up the potatoes. Hilling up potatoes, also known as earthing up, is mounding soil around the base of the potato plant as it grows. This is done to encourage the development of new potatoes and to protect them from exposure to sunlight, which can cause them to turn green and become inedible. Never eat green potatoes as they contain a toxic substance called solanine. Solanine is a natural toxin that is present in the leaves, stems, and sprouts of the tomato plant, as well as in green or sunburned potatoes. Solanine acts as a natural pesticide to protect the potato plant from insects and other pests. This is the reason you should never feed potato vines to your animals. Consuming large amounts of solanine can cause a range of symptoms, including nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach cramps, headaches, dizziness, and in severe cases, coma and death. However, it is important to note that the amount of solanine present in green potatoes is usually low and the risk of toxicity is generally low. It is recommended to avoid eating green potatoes or remove the green parts before you eat them. Other benefits of hilling up potatoes include improved drainage and better soil aeration, in addition to more potatoes. It is an important step in growing potatoes and should be done in the early stages of their growth. To prevent pests and diseases, practice good sanitation by removing any diseased plant material promptly. You can use organic pest control methods such as neem oil, insecticidal soap, or diatomaceous earth to control common pests such as potato beetles. After 3 to 4 months, your potato plant should start to flower. This is a sign that the potatoes are growing underground. Once the leaves start to yellow and die back, it's time to harvest your potatoes. Carefully dig them up with a garden fork or shovel, but be careful not to damage those potatoes. The yield of potatoes per plant varies depending on several factors, including soil quality, weather conditions, and the variety. On average, you can expect to harvest 4 to 6 potatoes per plant. After harvesting, let the potatoes dry in a cool, dark, and well-ventilated area for a few days. There are several ways to preserve homegrown potatoes so that they can be stored for later use. Potatoes can be stored in a cool, dry place with good air circulation, such as a pantry or cellar. It is important to keep the temperature between 45 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit and to avoid exposing the potatoes to sunlight or moisture. This method can preserve the potatoes for several weeks to a few months, depending on the storage conditions. Potatoes can also be canned in a pressure canner for long-term storage. I have a video on how to pressure can potatoes to store for years. If you're interested in learning how to do this, I will leave a link in the description. Potatoes can be frozen after they've been cooked or blanched. Frozen potatoes can last for up to 8 to 12 months. Dehydrating potatoes is a simple process that involves removing the moisture from the potatoes to preserve them for long-term storage. Potatoes are a good source of several essential nutrients, including carbohydrates that provide your body with energy and fiber that helps regulate digestion and reduces the risk of colon cancer. They are also a good source of vitamin C, vitamin B6, potassium, iron, and magnesium. Overall, potatoes can be a nutritious addition to a balanced diet, particularly when prepared in a healthy way, such as baked, boiled, or mashed with minimal added fats or oils. The number of calories in a medium-sized potato varies depending on the cooking method and the specific type of potato. On average, a medium-sized potato with the skin contains about 110 to 120 calories. Of course, adding toppings or cooking methods such as frying can significantly increase the calorie content. For example, a medium-sized potato that is made into French fries can contain over 300 calories. If you're watching your calorie intake, it is important to consider how the potato is prepared and served. Thank you for stopping by the old Mayfield place today. Stay healthy, get those potatoes planted, and have a blessed week.